For joining us, Nick Beres here, talking real estate land prices. We do this periodically with Gabriela Lira. She's a real estate agent, broker with, you're with Compass, right?
That's right.
So it hasn't slowed down much. All right, for folks that are thinking of buying for the first time, if you are a young couple, pretty much freshly out of college, both in your first-time jobs, making decent first-time job money, but nothing great. They want to open up an account, start saving for maybe buying a home. What kind of advice do you give someone like that, especially if they're looking for something in Middle Tennessee? We know Nashville may be outside their price range, but what are their options and what way they can go?
So the first thing I hear from people in that situation is that they're having a hard time saving for a down payment.
Yep.
And they are barely making ends meet, even with a decent job these days.
Paycheck to paycheck.
So we talk about getting a side hustle, right? Go drive for Lyft, go drive for Uber, sell some things, look in your closet, look in your garage. What do you have? Do you need to go on Poshmark and sell some things? Do you need to put some things on eBay or Craigslist? Like, get a little side hustle going and use all of the money from that side hustle to save for your down payment.
How much do you normally need on a, walk us through that again. I know based on the size of the home, how much do you need typically to put down?
Anywhere between 3 to 20%. So it depends on the type of loan that you're getting. If you are getting a conventional loan, I've seen as little as 3% down required. If you're getting a government-backed loan, like an FHA loan, then 3.5% it is. And you know, if you're doing well and you want to avoid mortgage insurance, then you're doing a minimum of 20% down.
So the more you can put down, okay, the lower usually the interest rate you can get. Does that count or no? Does that matter?
The lower your payment, because you're avoiding the PMI, which is the mortgage insurance.
Yeah, what's the line for having to have mortgage insurance?
20%.
Oh, okay, so if you pay more than 20%, you don't have to. And how much is that typically, mortgage insurance?
A few $100s a month.
Okay. Tacked on top of everything. Oh.
Sure, it's included in your monthly payment. So another thing that people aren't aware of is, let's say you were only able to do 10% down, and you've now lived in your house 5 years. Your house has appreciated in value, and you've been paying down your mortgage, so you owe less. You can go back to your bank and say, hey, I think I'm at that 25, because you know you get 20 up front, but once you own it, it has to be 25. I think I'm at that 25% mark where I have 25% equity essentially, and I want to get rid of my mortgage insurance, and they'll send an appraiser out to verify this, and surely you can drop off the mortgage insurance. Okay,
that's a good tip. Now, as far as, let's say they get their down payment together, they're going to go one way or the other. Maybe they're not going to get up to 20%. But where would they look right now? And what would their options? You know, the more affordable properties that they may find on some of the outer lying areas, you can find some sometimes that are completely fixer-uppers, and I mean some places that just look disgusting.
Sure.
Okay, and if you're willing to do that and do the work, would you go that way? You could, let's say you find a disgusting home that's just a mess for 80 grand, or you can find one that's in a little bit better shape for 200,000. You don't have to put as much into it. What do you think?
Well, what I've seen is when you are young and just starting out in your career, you're busy. Yeah. You're busy trying to climb the corporate ladder, if you will. You are busy with your friends, because when you're young, you're very social and you want to be out and about. So you don't have a lot of time to dedicate to a fixer-upper of that level. So a lot of times they prefer to go further out of town into possibly a brand new house, just further out from the core.
Okay, so they go, and that one is not a fixer-upper, it's ready to move into.
Oh, it's brand new.
Okay, brand new home. Where would you go looking in Middle Tennessee?
So we just did this very situation, and we put them in a brand new home in Pleasantview.
Okay, now Pleasantview's nice. It's not too far out. I don't know, do they happen to work in the city, or are they able to?
They do. One of them is an attorney, and they work downtown at a big law firm.
Okay.
But, you know, it wasn't a huge commute, maybe 30, 35 minutes in.
I do that, yeah. Okay, so you found, tell me about Pleasantview. That, you think about places like Ashland City, you think about what you were mentioning during the commercial, like Greenbrier. which I have a friend who's moved there a year ago and he really likes it. It's a nice place. Then Pleasantview.
Very charming.
What's happening there? Is it not discovered yet?
Oh, it's discovered.
Okay.
So you do have builders in there building entire subdivisions, but because it is transitional in a different way, it was very country, open fields in the past, very charming. A lot of times these areas have town squares, but land is more affordable, so they're able to turn around and sell it at a lower price.
What about people wanting to maybe try to find land? Now, first-time home buyers, a lot of people just want to buy a place, move in, have it ready to go. Building's a pain in the butt. Trust me, I've been there and done it. But you can end up with something great, and maybe that's not for first-time home buyers. But do you deal with buying raw land?
We do, but when you buy raw land or when you're looking for raw land, you have to think about who your competition is. All the builders out there are also looking for raw land, so they're your competition, but they're also very busy. So then, let's say you manage to buy a piece of land. What now, right? You have to hire a builder to build this home for you, and trades, as you all know, are very limited right now. Even builders themselves are having a hard time keeping their staff and keeping the subcontractors. So that's just another thing to consider. I'm not saying that it's impossible. I'm just saying that it will be more challenging.
It's more challenging. Yeah, it's interesting because you know, you think builders may be interested in buying a large swath of land, whereas you're maybe looking for just something big enough to build a home on. And we actually at one point had a piece of acreage, it was a little over 1.5 acres, and it was just off I-440 in Wilson County. Finally, about a year ago, we ended up selling it because we needed the money. And boy, builders were interested in that because they're like, okay, well, it's just one piece. We can put one, maybe 2 houses on here, but we'll take it. As I always had this image that builders and developers are like, well, we need something where we can put 20 houses. No, they were all over this. So an individual who was interested in the home had to compete with a larger business that could probably afford to pay more. Ultimately, I can't even recall who exactly we sold it to through our realtor, but it sold very fast. And they slapped up a house or two really quick.
Yes. So
you're competing. Yeah. All right. Hey, I want to talk more about that. Let's take a call from James. James, good morning. Hi, James.
Morning, guys. How are you and lady?
Good morning.
Morning.
I hear we're the place for the new mini McMansion, and we're attracting the great-great-great-grandchildren of the most wealthy in the country, and the best homes that I've seen to build in that type of situation are those prefab foam construction, where you come in, you put it together, and then you pour concrete in there. Those are excellent homes.
Prefab foam construction for a mansion? I mean, because these people would pay top dollar. Now, do you end up bricking that or put wood around it, or how does that work?
Anything you want to put on the outside of it, though, you can either put the brick ties that are drilled and tapped, or you can pour them in the footer, but it's a pain in the butt to put them in the footer. It's better to brick tie them and zip them and strip them, you know, just drill them into it.
Huh, interesting. And I had not heard that. Had you heard anything about the construction of that? That's interesting.
I have not heard of that, but it doesn't surprise me. I think we're lacking innovation in the building industry anyway, so I do see trends going towards sustainability and environmentally friendly, and I would love to see innovation in the industry.
And what about, before we go to break, just his point, do you get any sense of that Nashville, because it's crazy, when you live here like I do, and like you do, you don't really realize it, okay? I'm a big hotshot TV guy at the number one station in the market, okay? And I think, well, that's pretty darn cool. And I drive in every morning, I see the skyline, but I don't appreciate nowadays how much it appears this city is admired outside where we live. And so that you get the sense that there are a lot of people, as he said, millionaire grandparents, their grandkids want to move here, and does that kind of thing happen?
Nashville is still very hot. I have relationships with agents across the country, and anytime I tell them I'm from Nashville, they're like, ooh, I love Nashville. Everybody loves Nashville, and there are so many reasons why. But We're popular, guys.
Yeah, it just is. If you go on, there's all these websites, some that I discovered this weekend, that just talk about folks who are coming to Nashville asking questions. They visit and then they decide they want to move here. And boy, a lot of it's just, yeah, you're lucky if you're already here, right? We'll take a break. We'll be back with more of your calls, more of our conversation about real estate and whether or not she sells any tiny homes. You sell tiny? Don't answer that. We'll be right back after this.